Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday and we got Supernova sessions. We got new tag team champions and we almost spilt the tea. It's time for the Wrestling Inc. NXT after show and we're going to make you fall in love with us. So before we get started, let me introduce the crew. I'm Jack Farmer, being joined by the solo man himself, Glenn, along with NYC Demon Diva, Issa. Issa, thanks for bringing all your friends into the chat.
Anytime. I even do it on Mondays when I'm not here, just for you, Jack.
Oh, I saw that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I get all the credit as for people coming in, but you do all the hard work. It's my favorite kind of group project. Glenn, you're not on your own this time. I want to give a shout out to the Iron Man holding it down all on his own last week. Now you get to have someone else do some talking.
It's nice. Yes, we're celebrating tonight because I have my co-host back. Kicking it off. Jack Farmer's going to drive, and we're going to hang out and talk some NXT. It's going to be fun.
Are you really a DJ if you don't have an air horn?
You got to have the air horn, the reggaeton, as it were.
That's all it takes.
I heard that.
Yeah. That is all it takes to be a DJ, by the way, is the air horn. It's official. I want to thank everybody for joining us here, whether you are a lurker, if you're one of the people who watch the show and don't say anything, or if you are in the chat, we appreciate you, whether you're Kier or Alicia or Ricky or Jared or MDB999 or Cool Gamer and Papita Jr., good to see you. Killer a Demon 669, Casey J, Beer Money. Of course. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to make a confession to you guys. Oh. Usually we start with news. Usually we have a little bit of something we like to talk about here to begin things. And I did not do my homework. And I'm basically filling time right now. I pull up Wrestling Inc. to see.
CM Punk, I'm sure, is doing something.
It is CM Punk. He's on the very top. He's on the top there. Apparently he is he posted something on Instagram, so we have to stop everything and talk about him. We don't have to, but that's just how the format goes. We talk about news first, and I didn't do my homework, so we're going to talk about CM Punk. Apparently he went to Instagram and he shared a workout plan he was doing, and it had both the War Games theme and saying that he burned 666 calories, alluding to the devil. In AEW, maybe he's coming back. Glenn, clearly everyone should start holding their breath, right?
I mean, how slow is the world of professional wrestling now that TKO, WWE and UFC have merged? Vince McMahon is gone like a week without causing controversy. Roman Reigns is off on a beach somewhere. How slow is the world of wrestling that everything CM Punk does is still a top headline?
It's, I feel like I'm not even mad at him. I'm mad at us. I'm mad at us for always reporting every little thing that the guy does. I mean, it's like,
thank you.
Did you know that CM Punk was seen drinking Pepsi? Like, okay, people will say, Issa, people will say things and they'll be like, I'm the best in the world. And they're like, well, that must mean CM Punk.
Oh, God, he called out CM Punk. Yeah, it's so aggravating.
So, Issa, that said, where is CM Punk landing? Is he the devil mask?
I don't know. I mean, he certainly knows how to troll. That's what I felt about that post tonight. I was like, why? Or today, I was like, why are you doing this? I don't know, because he teased something with both companies here. Maybe he's very good at marketing and selling himself, but I'm over it. If he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Just let it happen. Like, chill.
Yeah, I've been in that.
I don't even follow him. Do you follow him? I don't follow him.
No, I don't follow him. But
Glenn, do you follow him?
Maybe, but why would you have to follow him when everything he tweets or posts is a headline?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why would I follow you if I'm gonna find out what you posted anyway? So
yeah, I don't really follow a lot of wrestling stuff on Instagram, and he never posts on Twitter. So what do you
follow on Instagram, Jack? Hold on, I'll say back and say, is it all like cat accounts and thirst traps? Like what
Have you been stalking me? Exactly that's all it is. some more of one than the other, if you know what I mean. No, but it's Instagram is more just like people I know that I follow,
Yeah.
or
No, I
like,
feel you.
so it's not like some secretive thing. It's just
No, Instagram's weird though, right? Because on Twitter, I feel like wrestlers are very much public persona. But then on Instagram, that's always the story of like, oh, did you see so-and-so liked this post or is following this account? Like Instagram's where it just gets a little weirder social media wise.
yeah, if you're doing it for
I guess the same
that-
way on Twitter. People be creeping through those likes.
Yeah.
social media just gets creepy. I mean, come on, that's the social media. Before we move on, I want to give a quick comment to Jared Ford asking about Championship Wrestling. From what I understand, there will be new episodes coming soon. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not say. So, I mean, I don't think it's a secret thing, but like, I don't want to say stuff that I'm not supposed to say, but from what I understand, they should be coming soon. So thank you for the support and thank you for continuing to watch. But then we also have a super chat here, from J.R. Smith saying, can't wait for the next hour or so. Well, J.R. Smith, you don't need to wait any longer. Mama Bird's going to feed you. We're going to talk all about this show. Let's do this thing. Let's talk about it, everybody. We start with the family taking on Chase U for the tag team titles. There seems to be a scandal at Chase U, and even the student section isn't feeling it anymore. In fact, some start walking out in the middle of the match. It's a hard-fought match, but we have new tag team champions after the family hit the bada bing. Later in the night, JC Jane helps Andre Chase escape. Issa, I hear you clapping. I know you're excited. Your guys, they are the again new tag team champions. How you feel about the family not being the criminals in the ring this time?
First of all, there is life after being a criminal. Okay, look at Dom. He's flourishing right now after his arrest. And obviously, so is Tony D. I don't think they should have ever lost those titles. Glenn wouldn't agree because he sold out. But I have been a big fan of Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelos since day one. So I was 1,000% rooting for Tony D here. As you shared, Glenn was solo last week. I didn't watch the show. So I was a little bit lost with the Chase U storyline. And I wish they would have just explained it a little bit better because I didn't understand what was going on. But something was going on. It doesn't matter. It's Tony time, and that's all I care about. Hopefully next week they eat some yummy pasta on NXT.
No, look, I compared the original Tony D'Angelo promo with Lash Legends producer in the trunk to the Austin 316 promo in terms of iconic moments in the world of professional wrestling. Not since P. Diddy and the family. Not since P. Diddy and the family has there been this great of a family in pop culture as Stax and Tony D. And we don't know who the new female member is.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, Glenn. Yeah. What do you think the scandal is? She obviously delivered the paperwork. They haven't actually said what the scandal is. Is it that Chase U is finally being outed for not being accredited?
Maybe it's a diploma mill.
Scam? It's a diploma mill? What do you think is happening here?
I think Chase is probably in debt, probably to borrow money from the family.
They took money from rich parents.
Maybe he's got it. Maybe he's been in Duke Hudson. Maybe Duke Hudson's got the poker room going still.
I was going to say he's running an illegal gambling team inside the college.
What if he bets on his own matches? What if he bets on the Chase? What if he bet against Thea Hale?
What if he's betting on the students that are going to pass or fail and then sabotages their college careers?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways this could go. This is an exciting storyline. Like, no lie, I really think I love what they did with Andre Chase trying to leave and the paparazzi and all this attention. Chase U was super over. They've been
wait. What if it's a drug scandal? Thea Hale used to be on something. And then JC Jane kind of rescued her from it. But what if there's evidence that Chase U was providing Thea Hale with these drugs she used to be on when she was all hyper and crazy?
with study aids to help her focus.
Wait. You're right.
Yeah.
What if JC Jane is actually an undercover narc infiltrating
She's the snitch.
You?
Say it, Jack. She's the snitch.
Well, I don't want to out her like that. I'm just saying.
She's just out her. She's the snitch.
All I'm going to say, look. Okay, if she is, I would like to go on record as saying so far, everyone who's been a snitch in NXT has proven to be on the right side of history. If we go back to Stacks from before.
So Beer Money's saying Tony D got info while he was in jail. His prison mate went to Chase U. What if his prison mate was Bodie? Former Chase U star student Bodie. Who makes the comeback as part of the family.
Multiverse stuff, Glenn.
Yeah. Oh, it could be huge. Look, Jack, I've been saying since day one, the ultimate Tony D'Angelo storyline will be somebody goes Donnie Brasco and infiltrates the family and then like turns on Tony D. So I don't know about JC Jane being a mole, but maybe.
What were the odds? Again, like I said, that Chase U and the family were going to have a match, and Chase U would be the bigger criminals of the teams. I mean, come on.
You're absolutely right about that. That's a great point. You would have never guessed that.
And again, how bad is the criminal underworld right now? If Tony D's thinking, you know what, a career in wrestling sounds like a lucrative option.
You know, we talk about how JC Jane may be a snitch, but this is what I really think's going on. I don't know about you. She was there to help Chase U. I feel like there's something going on between JC Jane and Andre Chase.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn, are you sensing the tension between these two?
I thought originally he was going to My Fair Lady her and get her on the straight and narrow.
Why does it sound so dirty when you say it like that?
It's such a classic play. Like it's elegant. It's the theater.
Yeah, but it sounds dirty when you say
it.
I'm gonna give her the old My Fair Lady, if you know what I mean. Like, what's that? What is that?
Stop right now.
The taming of the shrew, if you will.
That's not helping, Glenn.
Okay, I was trying to get a little, classic with it.
Give her the taming of the shrew. After a little. You just got to D-Lo Brown your head when you say it, and suddenly
it makes it sound much more.
I thought I was going to be the one that was going to be making these references.
Yeah, God, old Broadway plays really do. Yeah, we're going to do the Bye Bye Birdie, a little South Pacific, if you know what I mean.
All of them. Why do they
Stop it.
But last thing on this, before we move on, this is just me wanting to give some serious credit to someone. I want to give some real credit to Stacks, because I feel like when he was first introduced, he was just a background guy.
Oh yeah.
But Anissa, I'd love your thoughts on this. Like, Stacks has really taken made the best of his time, and really showed himself to be a big player in NXT. I
thought he was a snitch for the longest time. That's how big I misjudged him, and he wasn't. He ended up putting together this plan for Tony D. I agree with you. I think he's improved, and I think now he feels part of Tony D'Angelo. When Tony D'Angelo first came on the scene, he was a solo guy, and these guys were just the guys doing the dirty work for him. But now I don't see Tony without Stacks, and that speaks wonders of Stacks.
Yeah, he's not the Andrew Ridgely, the Oates, the Garfunkel. Like, he's holding his own.
But he did not eat the pasta the last time they were eating the pasta. So I hope he does better at the pasta eating in the next celebration.
Have you seen the man's abs? Of course he didn't eat the pasta. That's how that works.
You need some freaking carbs to burn up, Jack.
Of course, later in the night. Well, I want to say Kier Kemp with the super chat saying Chase U was a Ponzi scheme.
Oh my God. I just watched
welcome to the American education system. No.
I just watched that documentary of Bernie Madoff on Netflix. Super interesting. Really good stuff.
So if Issa's offering you financial advice after this, be careful. I'm
not offering anybody's financial advice. I'm just going to take your money and I'm going to guarantee you a 10 to 12%.
I was going to say, you should compete with Raj Giri getting into the practical money game, and you should have your own newsletter called More Practical Money.
Unrealistic Money with Issa. Later in the night, I want to touch on this. The tag team division, they're all hanging out in the locker room, and they all start arguing with each other. Glenn, I just want your thoughts on this. The odds that the next tag team champions, maybe not right away, but just the next ones, what are the odds that they were in that room?
So who all was in there? We had
Idris Inoue and Malik Blade.
Yeah, Blade and Inoue.
The Werewolf Brothers.
Okay.
We had Hank and Tank.
Wanker.
No, I mean it's gonna be Out the Mud though. Out the Mud, I think, is getting the
I mean,
fast
they
track.
lost tonight, though, Glenn.
Yeah, I know, but they're high on them. They're high on
I
script.
think the only way they'll win the tag team titles if they put them on some kind of like car on the streets money.
Well, we'll see.
Kind of match. You know what I mean?
So you're saying none of the people in there, you think it'll be someone different, not that group.
I think Los Lobos Locos will get an opportunity to
Stop,
lose.
Glenn, bye.
What? No, they'll get an opportunity and lose. Like they're going to be fodder. Yeah, they're going to get a shot, but the D'Angelo and Stacks are going to.
Hold on. What if the match takes place on a full moon?
Ooh. Also,
that's a game changer. That's a game changer. They're werewolves.
And why
is this a freaking full moon? They might win the tag titles, Glenn.
And why aren't they backing up the lone wolf Baron Corbin?
Jack's face.
Well, I'm just thinking if they turn to wolves, they better not be any silver on those titles. They might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be solid. That'd be solid.
I mean, if you're going to talk about pro wrestling, you need to understand werewolf lore. That's just part of the gig.
Agreed. But to Glenn's point, Baron Corbin's not a lone wolf anymore. He's not a pirate. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
well, he's burning the ships. You know.
Yeah. So we did get a super chat from Brian Reyes who says, happy 99th birthday to Ricky Dozen, the legendary pro wrestler. I didn't know it was his birthday.
Yeah, wow, 99.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Very cool. So we move on and we get a Supernova Sessions, the greatest talk show in all of pro wrestling. Supernova Session makes a trip to the USA instead of being from the moon. If you're a big time fan of Noam Dar, that makes sense. Both groups disagree about the Heritage Cup before Otis gets disrespectful with Lash Legend. Eventually, Chad Gable challenges for the Heritage Cup next week. Glenn, I am a huge fan of Supernova Sessions. I'm a huge fan of Noam Dar. He just cracks me up every time he's out there. I'm also a huge fan of Akira Tozawa. I didn't know who to root for. What are your thoughts on Supernova Sessions?
I think always fun, always a good time. And I think that this led into a really good match, a really surprising match, but it's interesting with Alpha Academy and the Metaphor sharing these segments because they're both so over the top. I think okay, so this is just my booking thought. I think you can have something like Metaphor and it works best when it's with a really straight-laced or not comedic stable, because then it plays off. But I think the problem is Chad Gable is so hamming it up right now and Otis is so over the top, Maxine Dupree, that I think it's a goofy segment, but Gable versus Noam Dar is going to be incredible.
Yeah, Issa, these teams, what stands out with both of them, but this is NXT, so I want to focus on Metaphor. The fact that Metaphor realistically hasn't been together that long in the grand scheme of things, but that team seems to just know how to work together as far as like Noam Dar will say something, Lash Legend will chime in real quick, he'll continue, the other one will catch. Like they just seem to bounce off each other so well. This is one of those teams that, like, if I was a pro wrestler, I would want to be in Metaphor. I'd want it to be Meta 5.
Yeah, not me. Not me. I thought that Alpha Academy was got the best out of this segment. I maybe just dragged a little bit because I'm usually a lot higher on Metaphor and I do like them. Or maybe it's just like Glenn mentioned, Otis was great here. Chad Gable was just so incredible that maybe they stole a little bit of the thunder from Metaphor. But my full takeaway here was all with Alpha Academy on this one. So I do think that they made. I thought that Alpha Academy looked better out of the two teams here.
And Tozawa, shining.
I'm not mentioning Tozawa. We'll let Jack do
Akira Tozawa, the greatest pro wrestler in all of wrestling universes, all of them combined. Doctor Strange, he's seen all the different futures, and all of them have Akira Tozawa as the greatest. He's been so fun to me, by the way. Like, I always like to talk about this with Akira Tozawa. So he did something fun in a backstage segment a long time ago, and I was like, you know what? I am hitching my wagon to this guy. I want to see him do well, and it's been so fun watching him get more and more TV time. And I always say to people, it's fun to like the people who are at the top and fun to like the Bron Breakers and Carmelo Hayes. They're great. But it's also fun to kind of pick someone who's not there and watch them get opportunities and just enjoy these little things. Because even most people wouldn't say Akira Tozawa did anything incredible tonight, but like, I'm like, my guy Akira, go cut that promo, and it was so fun. It's just fun to see.
You manifested everything going on with Akira Tozawa. I fully blame you. Every single time. He was quite entertaining tonight. He was entertaining last night. Like, he's killing it right now.
You know what we should do is we should do across the entire Wrestling Inc. podcast, all hosts, we should do a WINC draft for building factions. We can go across AEW, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, and then we'll keep track based on airtime and wins and losses, like whose fantasy faction wins.
I think we should. That'd be interesting, because if we're picking based off of airtime and wins and things, it might not necessarily the biggest one, because Roman Reigns wins all the time.
Shut up, Jack.
But he's only on.
I knew you were going to go there. Why you have to go there?
That's what I'm saying. This is an interesting way to do
I'm talking here.
a fantasy draft.
So like,
I like this idea.
You would actually probably be better off going with someone like a I guess Cody Rhodes would be the guy, because he's wrestling matches like every week.
Well, he keeps losing. He lost last night.
I mean,
what are you going to do with Cody?
No, we can lost with the rules.
He lost.
In championships.
He ate that L.
I mean, if we're talking time on screen, I mean, Cody Rhodes' entrance is going to get you 5 minutes every week.
No, I think the way we do it...
We don't count entrances, Jack.
Okay, so I'm working this out. This is good. Okay, so time on screen counts. A win gets you a multiplier of like a 1.5. And every championship, if you're holding a championship, you get 2x time on screen. I
have 5 X's then.
Only 5.
But I think there's a way we could do this. And make it interesting.
Yeah. Well, pick Cody Rhodes, and then we just make it kind of win and losses, and then you guys go nowhere. And I win. So speaking of wins and losses, we're going to move on to Lash Legend versus Roxanne Perez Iron Survivor qualifier picked by Lita. Perez is cooking until Jakara gets involved and then gets Metaphor ejected from ringside. Perez is cooking again when Jakara comes back, distracts the ref while Kiana James attacks Roxanne Perez and allows Lash Legend to get the win. Issa, this is something that happened last night on Raw, and we talked about this. I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a fan of them ejecting someone from ringside and them just saying, forget it, I'm going to come back anyways. It kind of defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it? It makes no sense if it has something to do with the finish. I feel like if the referee sees that person that was banned for ringside is there, we should restart the match or something. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I agree with you on that. I was happy to see Lash Legend advance. Visually, she looks like she should win this match. But there was a couple of spots that weren't hitting for me. However, I do think she's improved, but we never really seen her, what she can do in the ring. Her matches were kind of forgettable up to this point, and I thought that Roxanne worked very hard. There was a couple of spots that were amiss, especially with I think it was the submission holds that she was trying to hit on Roxanne that were just not, I don't know if they were not locked the right way, but you could tell they were communicating the right way. But I feel like if you're flipping channels and you watch this match visually, Lash Legend should have just dominated like Roxanne in like 5 seconds, right? So I'm happy to see her advance. Very curious to see what she can do in the Iron Survivor match, right? Like, I want to see what she brings to the table in that match, how often she'll be in the ring, because, you know, that match does have timeouts where you go in the cage, blah, blah, blah. But overall, I did see a lot of improvement as far as in-ring action goes from her. She's an impressive-looking woman, build-wise. And I just want her wrestling to get really good, because I just can't imagine. Like, there's no ceiling for her if we can match her looks to her in-ring skills. So I'm happy to see her advancing, and I can't wait to see what she can do.
I'm a huge fan of Lash Legend. I think that I agree with you. I think that she has a very high ceiling once everything clicks. But Glenn, I want to ask you about Roxanne Perez, and I'm going to copy a bit from a guy named Dave Damashek who covers football. Or
I know Dave Damashek.
Yeah,
Dave's of Thunder. Yes.
Yeah, he has a bit called or a thing he says, the curse of sposta, meaning you're supposed to win. So certain when LeBron James is the MVP, yeah, he's supposed to be the MVP. Roxanne Perez is someone who I kind of feel has that, the curse of sposta. She's supposed to win these matches. So when she doesn't, it seems really bad. But when she does, you just kind of go, well, she was supposed to.
Yeah. I will say that right now, the NXT women's division feels the most uncertain that it's ever been. And that's from top to bottom. With Lyra Valkyria, what they just did with Zia Lee, that was different. I'm sure they're going to put on a great match, but it feels like we're in really uncharted territory because Roxanne in this post Mandy Rose era, I feel like they've been trying the women's championship on a lot of different competitors, seeing what stuck, and nothing's really stuck thus far, except for Becky Lynch. But even that wasn't, permanent. So it will be interesting to see Roxanne. I was talking about this tonight when we were watching the show with my wife. I was saying that, Gigi Dolan's had so many repackages and pushes and different angles, heel, babyface, tweener. And sometimes same things, but you think, oh, she's going to win because they've been pushing her on. She's had some surprising losses. Tonight she's getting wins. With Roxanne, I feel like there is no master plan right now for the NXT women's division. There's a shit ton of talent. Like it's stacked. There might be more women going to the main roster soon, which adds more uncertainty because if Roxanne and Gigi and some others are getting called up, they're not going to give them wins. So maybe that explains it. But I would much like the Marvel universe right now. I would love to know what conversations are going on behind the scenes because both seem like they don't have a roadmap for the immediate future.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think with Roxanne and Issa, I want your thoughts on this too. I think with Roxanne, they know she's a star. Yes. We know she's a star. Everyone knows she's a star. But I think they don't want her to become the quote over pushed, shoved down your throat person. And so they're trying to give her all this stuff, like all these people that can beat her, be on her level without making it feel like she's being forced. Issa,
Issa, Dylan Matthews, can I get an anime gif of Issa's reaction there when she thought we were making an allusion to someone? Because that was great. Great reaction gif. But yes.
What did I do? I don't know. Anyways.
Yes.
So we do get a little segment backstage where the entire women's division is in the locker room together and they start arguing. That leads to some matches later that we'll talk about. But Lyra Valkyria and Xia Li, they have a little tea ceremony session. And
it was weird.
Fairly respectable conversation until the end when Lyra doesn't drink the tea. Issa, you do not look like you don't look like you're impressed with this.
Killed my buzz, Jack. This segment killed my buzz.
Why?
Did it not kill yours? It dragged. It didn't make any sense. Like, Xia Li was doing all of these things, going after Becky, kind of like aggressive, like, oh, I'm going to get you. And then she gets to Lyra and she's just like, oh, welcome to my little tea party. Like, that is not how I picture like a vicious fight is coming. And I do respect how to the culture it stayed. Like, it felt that way, but there was too much talking, not enough ass kicking. And Lyra took the belt off of Becky Lynch. So I'm not trying to put pressure here, but the expectations are up here, right? It doesn't get any higher than taking the belt off of Becky Lynch. So to see a tea party be the segment that I first see after she becomes champion, it's not it for me. Sorry, not sorry. This didn't do it for me.
It didn't have heat. The tea was hot, but the heat was cold.
Everything was cold. Right?
Yeah, it was a weird segment. Like, oh, she sent you this invite. Lyra's backstage, like with her coaches, with her trainers. I'm sure this match is going to be great. but this was just a non-angle. Now, if this segment, and I'm fantasy booking an alternate reality from the multiverse here, if Tiffany Stratton had said, Lyra, I'm going to take you out, we're going to go shopping, we're going to have a girls' day, let the past be the past, and like tried to buddy up with her, but at the end was just like, oh yeah, I'm coming back for my title, we're having a match, that would have been a cool build. There would have been something like frenemies, then heat, then conflict.
Does Lyra look like she shops at the same stores?
That's why it would have been an amusing segment.
Okay.
That's why it would have been amusing.
Just making sure you
or spa day or something, some Tiffany Stratton activity.
There's nothing they could do together. Maybe go to the gym. That's about it. Maybe wrestling.
Could you imagine in a vignette? Like, we're gonna go to the gym. We literally shot this in the performance center. We put no effort into this whatsoever. Like, why don't we just go walk around the building?
Those two girls have nothing in common.
Yeah, I know, but the tea time today. I mean, look, tea time. This was not an exciting way to build a match, and I'm not against the concept.
I just feel like Tiffany's my kind of girl, and I'm not gonna try to spend some time with somebody that I just don't have anything in common with.
In fact, I just want to be very clear about this. You could do a segment of say, hey, I'm inviting you to high tea, I'm inviting you to a tea party, I'm inviting you to something involving that, and you could make that funny and interesting and clever. But this was just kind of dull. And it's not the premise that was dull, it's the execution that was dull.
I hated it.
And this is her first title defense.
I think Lyra will be fine after this. I think Xia Li will be fine after this. What bugged me about this segment, what disappointed me, is I don't hate the idea of this. I don't hate the idea of Xia Li doing something that may show a different side of her culture and has a reason for them talking. But this is the way this happened. This was already a heated rivalry. I mean, they've been in each other's faces. They were beating up security. They had to get pulled apart. I felt like this was something that should have happened. If they were going to do this, should have happened a few weeks ago before we got to this heated point in everything. And I agree with Issa. I feel like it went a little long.
And it was a warrior tea party.
But it's a bummer, because I think if you had told me they were going to try something like this, like if I was a producer and they said, this is something we're going to do, I'd be like, this could be pretty cool. Like something that we're doing that's a little different. We haven't seen it before. So I wanted it to be successful. I agree. I felt like I was a little bored by the end of it, as opposed to.
But they have tried, and I talked about this last night. They have tried so many characters with Xia Li. Then doing all of these things just don't make any sense. Every incarnation of Xia Li we have seen is a different person. We don't know how she is as a character. So throwing these random segments out there to see which one sticks is not going to help her.
And
she was somebody different in NXT. She was somebody different when she first debuted on SmackDown. She's somebody different now on Raw. There's a reason why people are not connecting with Xia Li, because you have presented her in a whole different packaging every single time. So these segments make no sense to who you told us she is for like the last couple of years.
And
who is the landlord?
Yes, who is the landlord? But let me go a step further with this. They spent a lot of money and production value on that animated comic, on the effects with her entrance. And this warrior tea party, not a bad concept, but they should have found, like, where can we find like an extravagant garden outside? Where can we find something like this? This went from blockbuster production to direct-to-video production tonight, which doesn't help Xia Li in this latest repackaging.
It didn't help Lyra either. I almost would have rather seen Xia Li go into this like tea get together with somebody that inspires her to give her some words of encouragement, and then she goes and finds Lyra. Like it just didn't click. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, not everything has to work, right? So
but for Lyra's sake, it does have to work, because again, we've had so many women get that championship, and then it peters out and they're on to the next one. Like, if they want this to work, put some effort behind it.
And if she would have won the title from somebody in NXT, but it's coming from Becky Lynch, like your expectations are up here, and they should have known that's what they were going into when they chose her as the person to take that belt off of Becky.
And maybe Xia Li could have said tonight, so Lyra, did your parents or grandparents ever own any properties in the Pacific Rim? Just asking.
And how do we feel about Becky just moving on and not even like really acknowledging the loss of this title?
I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah, but then it just doesn't feel like it mattered.
I think it's not on Becky at this point to make it feel like it mattered. I think she made Lyra look pretty good in this situation. I can't put it on Becky at this point.
I like Zaya's new makeup though. I like Zaya's look. I think that's pretty
Agreed.
cool.
Well, someone who wasn't wearing any makeup was Bron Breakker, as he was cutting a promo and Dijak come in and they get heated.
The spray tan was too fresh. He can't put makeup.
But he made a retribution reference.
He made a retribution reference. These two guys, Glenn, these are two guys I want to see have a match because they're both just guys who wreck things, and I want to see them just try to destroy each other.
Bron Breakker needs to get the hell out of NXT. This is just sad at this point. He's been there too long. It's like, dude, you should have graduated already. Go to summer school, get your credits, get your diploma.
What if Bron Breakker is trying to break Aaliyah's record?
It's gonna take a long time. So yeah, I agree. I think it's time for him to get called. I have a feeling they're waiting for like a Royal Rumble or something like that for him.
What would you do with Bron Breakker if you brought him up right now?
I would have him have a feud with someone he could beat.
Who?
You know, it could be the Alpha Academy. It could be depending on what brand he's on. It could be with.
How is that going to make a difference?
It could be with LWO. A team he could have a rivalry with.
You're just saying that because they always lose. I see. Now you're trying to get
that's the point. You put him up there so he can beat some people, get some momentum going. Because you can't put him in he's not going to beat Gunther his first match. You know, you don't want to.
He's not going to win a championship right now. So why bring him up?
No one's winning a championship right now. All of the titles are on lock. All the men's singles titles, and the fact that it's kind of boring because I don't believe anything's going to happen in any of these championship matches.
Correct. So maybe bringing him up is not the right. I do agree with Jackie. The Royal Rumble is enough time to start thinking creatively. How can we build Bron Breakker to be believable? Because I do like him. I think he's great. I think Bron Breakker might not look as intimidating in the main roster as he does in NXT, and I'm worried about that. So it all depends on who you put him on those first couple of feuds against.
Yeah.
Well, someone he may have a feud with if he does get into the Iron Survivor is Trick Williams, because he just beat Joe Coffey in an Iron Survivor qualifier match. So first off, Trick and Carmelo Hayes, they agree they're all good. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about between them. And they kind of brush over it pretty quickly. We get to the match, and the story here is Carmelo Hayes is trying to help Trick Williams, but he's doing a kind of a bad job of it. I mean, he pulls down Wolfgang at the time that causes Trick to go over the top rope. He gets out of the way when Coffey dives, but it just causes Trick to take the shot all on his own. Now, Trick Williams is going to the Iron Survivor match, which I think is great, but Issa, are things really cool in Trick Mello Gang?
No, and I am okay with them. Are you okay, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just the way that was phrased was it tickled me.
I don't think they're okay. I think they're faking to be okay for the time being, and I like the slow burn in this story. I do. I'm enjoying it because I didn't necessarily want to see them broken up to begin with. I just wanted to see them shine individually. But I'm excited for Trick's future. I think Trick's got it, and I did want to see him away from Melo. So as much as I'm enjoying the slow burn, I do hope that we eventually see them kind of like, I don't know if we're going to have a feud or not. I think that is a way to keep them in NXT for a little bit longer if you don't have anything from them on the main roster. But my God, Trick Williams oozes it factor. So don't let it go away, because so does Melo. So as much as I like them together, I do think they don't shine as bright when they're together. I do think that they're better off apart. And I love them, really? But I do. I think they can shine. I think they take away from each other when they're together. I do. I think they shine in their own individual way. Let them go be on their own.
Like the movie Hancock. They just bring
I thought they were great when Trick was going after the North American title and Melo was going after the main title.
Just be ashamed of yourself, Glenn.
That was the plot. Sorry, spoiler for people that haven't seen Hancock.
Spoiler for people who've been waiting to watch Hancock.
I don't remember the plot because I only watched it when it came out.
They have to stay apart or else they bring each other down.
Wasn't he like a drunk superhero?
Yeah, but it took a swerve halfway through with Charlize Theron, and it turned out like they were in love, but if they were near each other, they're both immortals, and if they were near each other, like they were bad luck. They like
Do you think that he was like being beaten up by Jada then, or do you think
that let's save this for the Hancock retrospective podcast for now? Glenn, now Issa said some pretty big things. She thinks Trick and Carmelo are better off apart. One, do you agree? And two, I want to hear you wax poetic about how I think Trick and Carmelo Hayes best story in WWE right now across all brands.
wow?
Wait, what was the question again?
Versus just, do you think that they are better off apart? And two, what are your thoughts on just the overall story? I think as a story, my intrigue is what's going on with Melo and Trick over all other stories in WWE.
I think that's the money story that's been teased but not acted on yet.
Yep. So do you think they're better off apart? Do you think they should just go their separate ways?
They have to have the feud first.
Who wins?
Should they just get to it? Should they just have it happen, or do you want to see them drag it out a little bit?
I mean, I think Trick stays in NXT, but I think that's Carmelo's exit. But I think this could be a decent 6 to 12 week story.
So you want it to be done like after Iron, whatever what's after Iron, or I call that show Iron Survivor. It's just called the show Iron Survivor, but
yes.
Deadline, whatever the one after Deadline is.
Yeah. Whatever the one after Deadline. Was that In Your House? Is that what we're due for?
I can never remember. But showing up to the chat.
Oh, Jack Scallons, what's up?
Good to see you. Says, so Cobra Kai, new season soon. The end. We move over. Speaking of gangs that like to fight, Out the Mud faced the Brawling Brutes. Good hard-hitting brawl, but the Brawling Brutes got the dub. Issa, are Out the Mud doing anything for you?
Yes, but them losing when they finally get in the ring is not really backing up what they talk.
Do you think they need to start getting wins, or do you think they need to do something different? If they started winning, would that be the complete package for you, or do you want to see anything else from them?
More streets, video packages,
and more scripts explaining.
Yeah, definitely more scripts.
Do you, Glenn? What do you want from Scripps?
Well, I enjoy that every time Scripps has a mic, he has to explain that his name. They've called him Scripps his entire life. And that Reggie and the mask and everything was him trying to play the game, but now this is really him.
I'm going to echo Tim here, who says their manager isn't believable. I like the group. I like Scripps being the manager. I feel like I need Scripps to do something or say something that explains to me why these two massive guys are doing everything he says. Like, he needs to show me how street he is that makes these two killers
because he's paying them. He's got something on them, right?
But then that makes him seem like a loser. He's paying these guys to hang out with him. Like the boss of the gang needs to be,
he's got something on them.
The boss of the gang needs to be the meanest and the most scary of the three. That's why the other two listen to him. I need to see him do something that makes me go, oh, Scripps is the crazy one. That's why they listen.
That's not how it works. It's almost like when you're in a corporate world and the rich CEO walks in little jogging sweatpants and a t-shirt like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is, I don't mind Scripps. I need
the CEO's the craziest person. Have you seen Succession?
Oh, yes, true. I mean,
no, I don't watch that show.
Wait, you enjoy it? Just pretend it's the McMahon family, and it's much more entertaining.
No, I get that, but I mean, like dealing with real, like dealing with crazy corporate New York City. I am telling you right now, the person that's in charge of everything looks like they're the least in charge of everything when they walk into the room.
As Baby Ice is
usually
pointing out,
the ones that are trying to look like they're running everything are tryhards. Like, I'll shut up, but you know what I mean.
But as Baby Ice says in the chat, Eazy-E was the smallest gangster in LA. Scripps is fine. I'm not saying his size is a problem.
Agreed.
I'm saying he needs to do something that tells me why these two guys are listening to him, as opposed to them saying, hey, Scripps, you do what we say. That's what I want to see. I want Scripps to do something that makes me go, oh, he's the crazy one. The Joker was the craziest one. That's why all the bad guys listened to him, not because they trusted their dental plan and like HR benefits packages with him. I want to see him do something crazy, you know? Want to give a shout out to Sheed Black in the chat for the super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's no comment there, Sheed. So if you want to add something, just throw it out and I'll make sure we say it for you.
Scripps is proving himself, though, to be so connected. And the fact that Out the Mud listened to him, I'm a little paranoid about all the fun I poked at Scripps for all that time. And the voice and the videos. I mean, I thought Scripps was just a fun-loving masked vigilante.
No.
But you know, now we're seeing the real Scripps, and he's a dangerous man.
One person who we're seeing the real side of right now is Joe Gacy. Says no one knows him, and maybe it's time to let go. Glenn, you're laughing. I like Joe Gacy, and I thought that he actually delivered this well. I don't know how I feel about what felt like am I gonna kill myself promo.
Jeez. I don't think NXT was going there.
It literally made it look like he was about to jump off the building, and he threw his phone off to like simulate that.
Well, he wasn't on the grassy knoll again, at least. I mean, you know, this is Joe Gacy we're talking about here. Here's the thing. Yeah, Joe, I love you. We're probably related given your shoot last name and my name. We look like we could be related. But bro, like, just get a little foundation or cover up. That dot on your nose distracted the hell out of me, and make sure the nose ring's straight if you're going to be that close up.
Oh my God, thank you.
This guy is telling you that he's unstable. He's sick of people judging him. And the first thing you guys do is dive in and judge him.
I'm telling him, I want Joe to be the best Joe.
How dare
you? Know?
Joe Gacy, I think you are the best Joe. And I am here
in the world,
for you, pal.
Over
best
Joe Budden,
in the
Joe
world.
Biden, Joe Cool.
Well, Joe Cool is pretty tough to beat. But
Joe and Noah.
Issa, are you team Joe Gacy?
No.
Is it because he kidnapped Rick Steiner?
It's because of that dot on his nose.
You guys just so...
It was distracting.
It was highly distracting.
Look,
and I agree with you. Straighten up your nose ring. If you're going to get the piercing, fix it.
Like, Joe, you're a handsome man. You're a handsome man, Joe.
So
you've got those Rubenstein jeans.
So shallow.
But I'm just saying, you're on national television. You're on the same network that airs Chucky the series and Barmageddon. Be the best you, man.
What is Barmageddon?
Barmageddon. It was
what
on
isn't
after,
Barmageddon?
With Nikki Garcia, which they let her use her shoot last name, which was nice. It's just bar games. It came on immediately after NXT. I watched 5 minutes of it and said, "This is not for me."
Well, She'd Black with the super chat saying, "Glenn, you stayed on Scripps and Uncle Howdy." LOL.
I love Scripps and Uncle Howdy, Glenn. That was an era of the podcast I will never ever forget.
It just takes the inspiration when I start doing voices and characters on the podcast. That's when you know something has truly tickled me. But yeah, I think Joe Gacy. What I want to know, I think Joe's going to be okay. When he was going through some stuff, but what's next for Ava Raine? That's the question we should all be speculating.
Well, she talked to Shawn Michaels, and someone else who apparently talked to Shawn Michaels was Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan, because after their little scuffle backstage, they had a match. Story of this one is positive. Ariana Grace used the ropes, got caught, and then lost the match. Issa, I feel like when I'm looking at wrestlers and I look at Ariana Grace, I'm saying to myself, she's positive. She loves everyone, wants to help everyone out, but not afraid to cheat to win. Ariana Grace is my spirit animal.
She's great.
Yeah, I love her. I love the gimmick. I love everything about her. I mean, I don't know that I like her losing, but she's just getting started. We're just like starting to see this character. I would like to see her get a win here or there. She got one win in the breakout tournament, but then she went on to lose, and now seeing her lose here, character-wise, I'm here for it. I enjoy every time she comes onto the screen, she gets my attention. So that's something.
But next year at Halloween Havoc, whoever is feuding with her needs to pull a Carrie and drop blood on her in that getup.
What are Glenn? You're a Vegas guy
Stop
now.
that right now.
Glenn, you're a Vegas guy now. What are Vegas odds that next Halloween Havoc, Ariana Grace is the one that ends up in the haunted house?
That'd be pretty dope.
Every year, someone is in the haunted house. I feel like it's going to be Ariana Grace.
She's got a bright future in NXT.
But they have to trick her and make her think she's going to some beauty pageant. And then she gets there and it's like a haunted house. Oh my God, it will be amazing.
This gimmick is so simple, but so just wonderful. So full of potential. She's crushing it. But so much to the point, I was shocked that Gigi Dolan won tonight because I'm like, Gigi is probably out of there soon. She's going to take the L, get called up, especially with how they booked her lately. So I was shocked when Gigi Dolan won. I do say they have to be very careful about putting too many losses on one person, but I actually think Ariana Grace losing was better for her character because her losing and still being like waving and stuff afterwards, I think was a better story beat for that character than her just winning and doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it. I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. I don't think she looked any worse in defeat, but I would like to see her get some wins.
You do got to be careful of I love Dolph Ziggler, but I always use him as the example of like, you got to be careful if you hang too many losses on someone. It doesn't matter how good they are. They'll become
Kurt
that
Hawkins.
Person. Yeah, it'll happen. My only gripe with Ariana Grace is, and maybe this is intentional, is it is so close to Ariana Grande. And I worry that
I know I always get it confused. You're absolutely right.
Part of it, though, and that's happened before. They've done that before with naming. I mean, come on, how many times it took a while to get used to saying Apollo Crews and not Apollo Creed?
That's true.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like they do this on purpose. They do this on purpose.
It'll be fine, but I want to complain. That's what I.
Yes. We need more of that, though. Where's the NXT wrestler that we call, an Irish wrestler that we call Mick Jagger, MC Jagger?
They had a Jagger. He was in Schism.
But if you've been Mick Jagger, think about how much more that would have taken off.
Jax in the chat saying, "Seen this podcast, gigantic pop. If interested, fans."
Thank you.
Great show with Raj Giri, Matt Morgan, and some other guy. We also, real quick, because we are getting a little long here, Von Wagner, Robert Stone video packages. Point. Issa, what are your thoughts on this Von Wagner, Robert Stone story?
It feels like a telenovela. Also,
in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way. Where is Von Wagner's scar? Like, he wore the head wrap for days and he has no scar.
He had a scar when he had the match with Braun.
Where was it tonight?
Did we see it tonight? He had his hair down. I don't think you could see it.
Oh, whatever.
Glenn, I like the idea of this story. I like what they were doing. I am starting to get to the point where I'm like, I'm ready for them to move on to the matches side of this story.
Yes.
Any thoughts on it? We don't need to have a big breakdown, but just to cover it.
I mean, Von Wagner's one of those guys where it seemed like, he had some main roster appearances. It seemed like he was going to get called up. It's starting to get a little weird in NXT how they're keeping these guys around, keeping them on TV. Clearly, there's bigger plans for them in the grand scheme of things. But it's part of the reason why NXT is still my favorite show in all of professional wrestling. But this is a very weird era of NXT. Very weird. So I don't know, with this Vaughn and Robert Stone bromance, though, I like that. That was kind of nice tonight to see that.
We move on to Eddie Thorpe is getting interviewed, telling us why he hasn't been on TV for a while.
Nobody asked, though. Who asked for this?
Literally, Mackenzie Mitchell asked him, but
you know what I meant.
Gulak brothers.
Relax. That's not what I meant. I meant who is saying where is Jack Thorpe? Nobody.
I'm a huge Eddie Thorpe fan. He's a DJ.
Jack Thorpe.
I wish. But I'm a big Eddie Thorpe fan, and so I'm glad he's back. But it looks like he's going to have a match with Gulak or one of the guys from that crew, probably Dempsey. Glenn, that's probably going to be an Iron Survivor match, correct? Or a qualifier?
Maybe. I mean, Thorpe has put on some really intense, good matches thus far. I think he has a bright future in NXT. He's part of the reason why we got to get some of these fifth-year seniors out of here. Mm-hmm. Call them up to the main roster. They've done their time. Let them graduate. Thorpe, I think, is a future NXT champion.
I think he definitely has all the tools, and I think Issa. Real quick, your thoughts on this, but I do think that Thorpe has the kind of character that is a little bit more nuanced, and I think once he like nails it down, it's going to be something that he can carry into the main roster and for a very long time. But what say you, Issa? You're done with him?
No, he'll be fine.
As we go on to, we wrap it up with the final part of the show. First off, Dom Mysterio and Baron Corbin, they agree that Wesley is just the worst. Lexis King says mission accomplished, but doesn't exactly admit to attacking Trick Williams. Wesley and Ilya Dragunov say they're cool, but Wesley has something on his mind other than the NXT title. Get to the match with the main event. It's a good one. It ends with Dominic Mysterio getting involved. The distraction allows Corbin to get the win. After the match, Corbin attacks Wesley. Dragunov comes out. He eats an end of days for his trouble and then challenges Baron Corbin for the NXT title, even though Dragunov has the title. Issa, the end of days is a move that looks so difficult to do, but for some, I want you to just talk to me about how Baron Corbin makes that move look so effortless and like he can hit it out of nowhere.
I've never been shy about how much I love the end of days. One of my favorite current finishers in WWE. I even had a conversation with Baron Corbin about how crappy it is that Drew McIntyre is the only person that got to kick out of it because it was so protected.
That was his real heel turn.
For the record, agreed. For the record, Baron Corbin said he agreed with me that it is bullshit that Drew McIntyre got to kick out of it. But I love seeing the end of days. It's just like you said, it's got everything for like if it was like making of a finisher, that's a finisher that you will create, right? Like comes out of nowhere, looks difficult, looks like you shouldn't get out of it. Like it's perfect. So I love seeing it everywhere tonight. And I'm here for Baron Corbin and Dragunov. Dare I say, I'm here for Corbin to freaking win the NXT title. I think he needs to finish the story.
Yeah, that end of days, like if you explained it to me, like, yeah, you grab him, you lean forward, they kick their feet up, and then you reverse momentum and bring him face first. Like, that sounds so difficult, man. But the way he snapped it on both Wesley and on Dragunov was like, whoa, that literally came out of nowhere.
That Becky Lynch end of days lives rent free on my head. I think about it multiple times a day, every day.
Did Roman Reigns kick out of the end of days when Baron Corbin?
Shut up, Glenn. Nobody brought this up. What are you talking about? Corbin did beat. Corbin was the last person to have a pin on Roman Reigns before Jey Uso.
Glenn,
I wish the feud wasn't as crappy as it was.
Yeah, the dog food and.
But and they had an amazing. I think it was I don't know if it was a false count anywhere or last man standing. I can't remember, but at the Royal Rumble back in 2020, they had an incredible match. They fought all over Minute Maid Stadium. Yeah. I think Corbin is so underrated.
Yes, he's great.
I love seeing what he's doing in NXT, and I love seeing him there being involved in like an important match. Because
Corbin and Dominic
matches.
Yeah, Glenn, I want to talk to you about. I want you to talk about Baron Corbin a little bit here because we talk about underrated. I was watching him tonight, and I was thinking, is there anyone better than Baron Corbin at going to any level of the card and being great at it? We just talked about how he had a rivalry with Roman Reigns, right? We're talking about it today. He's in NXT. Rivalries are great. Like, you can put him anywhere and it feels like he fits right in and he crushes it. And I don't remember anyone who has been able to do that at that level. And every time, like, no, this is great. It doesn't feel like he's coming down to someone's level. It doesn't feel like he's getting raised up to someone's level. It just feels like, oh, he belongs right where he's at. And
bum-ass Corbin, top 10, if not top 5 wrestling storylines.
Amazing story. I still miss it.
And him and Dominic Mysterio backstage was like, ooh, give me more of this.
Yeah.
Two heels doing heel shit.
Well, let's raise the stakes, Glenn. Also, Lexis King. Is it possible Baron Corbin may have a little group forming?
Ooh. The Lone Wolf. Taking on other wolves, but not Los Lobos Locos. Interesting.
The Lone Wolf Pack.
Yes. Actually, the Lone Wolf Pack is an amazing faction name.
Yeah.
Credit to you, Jack. Lexis King, was that a beard or a Snapchat filter? Like that?
No one will ever know.
That chin strap tonight was so like distracting. More distracting than Joe Gacy's spot and crooked nose ring. I could not take my eyes off Lexis King's sculptured, manicured beard. That was quite honestly creeping me out.
He's going to the same beard barber as Bron Breakker.
You know, when I first saw the beard, I was like, of Lexis King, I was like, oh, this isn't good. But now, because of what it is, it's almost so bad. It's giving me, it's giving Hollywood Hogan. You know, like it's so bad. But now I'm like, it's so bad, I love it. Like, you gotta keep
it's so
it.
obnoxious. We'll see though. But I thought this was a good interaction, and I enjoyed the match that we got tonight of Wesley and Corbin. Wesley, I love him doing that flip outside and landing on his feet. That was incredible.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff in that main event there. Lots of good stuff. This was a fun show. I say every week, I think if you're a fan of wrestling and you like the variety aspect of what pro wrestling is, NXT just delivers every single
best
time.
The most entertaining show in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's just so consistently good. Like I said, you'll get comedy, you'll get great wrestling, you'll get stories, you get it all.
You'll get tea time.
You'll get an amazing tea. I'm more an Earl Grey guy, but okay.
Warrior tea. It was Warrior tea.
Earl Grey's the only tea I know the name of. So
wait, really?
Yeah.
English breakfast, green tea.
I never had tea.
Wait, hold on a second. What?
Like, never had tea in my life.
Chai tea. I know chai.
Yeah, chai. Well, chai is a tea. So you're really, that's like saying ATM machine. Like, chai is tea. But wait, Issa, you've never had iced tea before? You never had sweet tea?
No, I've never had any kind of tea in the.
Oh my God, you're missing out. Yeah, chamomile. This is like an Enzo promo. Chamomile, how you doing? Earl Grey, how you doing? English breakfast, how you doing? Lemongrass, how you doing? Arizona.
I know tea. I just don't know it off the top of my head. But in any case,
Issa, wait, hold on a second, Jack. This means Issa's missing out on one of the greatest drinks ever invented, which is the Arnold Palmer, which is half iced tea, half lemonade in the same glass. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm okay.
Glenn, everyone knows the greatest drink ever made is a Yoo-hoo. Now let's move on.
I've had Yoo-hoo.
So as we wrap up the show, I want to thank everyone for joining us. But before we get out of here, Issa, where can the world find you online, and what were your overall thoughts of this week's event?
I thought it has some hit and it has some misses, but as always, enjoyable. NXT is always enjoyable. And people can find me at NYC Demon Diva across all platforms.
And
social
Glenn,
media platforms.
Yeah, you do a great watch along. Everyone should tune into that. But Glenn, where can the world find you, and what were your overall thoughts of the show?
Interesting time for NXT. I feel like I'm critiquing it more lately. It still has its highs, but there's a lot of stuff going on where I'm just kind of like, what's up with that? But I'm sure it's going to find its way. It's still an entertaining show. You can find me online at Glenn Rubenstein, and check out Gigantic Pop that I'm doing with Raj Giri and Matt Morgan. It's a fun show. We talked about the 8-bit NES this week and the best Nintendo games of all time.
Oh, the old 8-bit NES. How you ruined my day after playing for a long time and then the game freezing up. But that does it for us. Again, thank you to everyone, whether you are lurking. Thanks for hanging out, whether you're Alicia or KOD669, CJ, Jared, Tornado Anthony Y. Thanks for coming back.
Absolutely.
Thank you to everyone who joins. Flobo Boys, appreciate you coming in. Wrestling Inc. Correspondent Flobo Boys, appreciate you being here. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I thought it was a great show tonight. I think NXT.
Absolutely.
I feel like anytime there's something I don't like about NXT, it's because they were swinging for the fences, which is what I prefer they do anyway. So
they try.
Yeah, I maybe didn't like it, but I get it. I get what they were trying for, but. That does it for us. Make sure to follow at Wrestling Inc. for all your latest wrestling news. And make sure to check out the AEW Dynamite after show tomorrow, right here, wherever you're checking this out, I guess. See you next time.